Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashemi Haushai Bahashem Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS for the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all the Akim that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, who are risking their lives and their freedom to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking at the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai. And the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Yakalio, and I am from the GMS Jamaica Kingston camp. And this video is about World War III. Hot off the press from Reuters.com. Front page, top of the web page. Biden says Putin's nuclear threat brings risk of Armageddon. Okay? So, let's read a little bit. Biden says greatest risk since Cuban Missile Crisis. Pro-Russian official suggests defense minister shoot himself. Ukraine says 534 civilian bodies found after Russian retreat. Putin marks 70th birthday. So that's the summary. Okay. Russian President Vladimir Putin's threat to use nuclear weapons in Ukraine has brought the world closer to Armageddon than at any time since the Cold War Cuban Missile Crisis, says US President Joe Biden. With his 7-month invasion unraveling, Putin celebrated his 70th birthday on Friday with fawning praise from some officials but little public fuss. That was a contrast to just a week ago when he staged a huge concert on Red Square to proclaim the annexation of nearly a fifth of Ukrainian land. What's going on here? In a clear repudiation of Putin's record, the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to Russia's most prominent human rights group, Memorial, which Moscow shut down over the past year. A Ukrainian human rights group and a jailed campaigner against abuses by the pro-Russian government in Belarus were also awarded. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Kyiv's forces were swiftly recapturing more territory, including more than 500 square kilometers in the south, where they burst through a second major front this week. Russia's failings on the battlefield have brought unusual public recrimination from Kremlin allies, with one Russian-installed leader in occupied Ukrainian territory going so far as to suggest Putin's defense minister should have shot himself. Biden said the prospect of defeat could make Putin desperate enough to use nuclear weapons, the biggest risk since US President John Kennedy and Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev faced off over missiles in Cuba in 1962. We have not faced the prospect of Armageddon since Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis, Biden said in New York. Putin was not joking when he talks about potential use of tactical nuclear weapons or biological or chemical weapons, because his military is, you might say, is significantly underperforming, Biden said. Okay, so then that's something about the Peace Prize. And this is the first time I'm reading the article. Fresh reaction. Muted birthday. Public criticism. Ukrainian forces have advanced swiftly since bursting through the Russian front in the northeast at the start of September and in the south this week. Since Putin proclaimed the annexation a week ago, Ukraine has recaptured the main Russian bastion in northern Donetsk and a swath of territory on the west bank of the Dnipro River in Kherson. Zelensky said in a video address on Thursday that Kyiv's forces had recaptured more than 500 square kilometers and dozens of settlements in Kherson in October. All right, so I'm going to stop right there and let's head into the scriptures. Obviously, what's going on is this Ukrainian war is, I don't even know what the correct word is to use. A patsy. Is patsy the correct word? Let me Google that real quick. Patsy. No. Oh, a person who is easily taken event. No, not a patsy. Let's just say a boogeyman, right? This Ukrainian war is a boogeyman, and it's, to me, set up by the wicked elite of Esau Edom, who are the Edomites, who are the rulers of this current world. All right. And when I say world, I'm talking about this current age. Right. The Edomites have been given power. It is their blessing given unto them in the book of Genesis that Esau, Edom would rule, and that he will rule by the sword. And this is their time right now. Okay. And right now, the elite of the Edomites are pushing forward with their agenda, which their agenda is that NWO. Okay. But at the peak of that NWO is their microchip, which is the mark of the beast, right? And everything that we're seeing is a gradual build up towards it. It is the doing of Yahweh Shemi Shai ultimately. Okay, so in regards to something like this, the scriptures let us know. Okay, brief intermission. The scriptures let us know that Armageddon will in fact happen. Revelation chapter 16 and verse 16. And he gathered them together in a place called, in the Hebrew tongue, Armageddon. And that is where Joe Biden got the word Armageddon from the scriptures, right? That's where they get everything from the scriptures, okay? But what we're seeing right now in regards to this article, World War III is not going to pop off tomorrow, okay? Or even next week or even next month, okay? World War III cannot start the War of Armageddon until the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, that prophecy is fulfilled, and then shall the destruction come. Okay? And that destruction will be by way of thermonuclear fire. All right? America, which is Mystery Babylon the Great, will be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. The elect of the nation of Israel will be delivered out of it. The 1/3 and 2/3 of our people in America will be destroyed as it pertains to Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 8. But here it is in the book of Matthew, Salakio, and Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And the wars and rumors of wars, since I've been in the truth, I've been hearing about this is going to pop off here, that's going to pop off there. But with knowledge of knowing that the mark of the beast has to happen first, then you just chill, right? And then the scriptures let us know, point blank period, that there shall be wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we're going to see all these rumors of wars, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And we're seeing sprinkles of this, okay, but it's going to get to a very severe level, all right, Lord willing, very soon. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So all these are the beginning of sorrows, right? One prophecy that is yet to come in its fullness is Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. All right, a time that is going to be very devastating for the wicked of our people, the Israelites. All right, of course, the elect will be preserved throughout, but the elect will still have to go through Jacob's trouble, man. Okay, and deal with whatever it is thrown the elect's way to test the faith of the elect. All right, that trial, right? But we're going to see all of these things. Now, Russia is a very important part in the war of Armageddon, right? And that's why they are at the forefront of this news, and that's why they have been at the forefront of so much of this news. All right, these things are happening for a reason, and it's because of biblical prophecy. Okay, so let's go to Revelation chapter 20. And low-key, I'm kind of feeling like starting at the top. Okay, so let's start at the top. Revelation chapter 20 and verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. That angel is Yahushua. That bottomless pit is referring to Europe. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, which is talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. This is after their Roman rulership. So the Edomites ruled during the so-called Greek period and the so-called Roman period, right? And bound him 1,000 years. So then it transitioned into what they call the medieval ages, which they claim that they don't have much recollection of, etc. But that is when the Israelites ruled. You can see proof of that, or rather, a part of the proof of that, if you Google the Russian icons. You see images of our people in a royal state during those so-called medieval times. Okay, but then after the medieval times, that time when our people ruled, then the Edomites started to come back into power, and then came their Renaissance period, the rebirth of the so-called white man, the rebirth of the Edomites, okay, which was all scripted by Yahweh Shemishai. Okay, so he was bound 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. And we're currently in that little season. Once that Renaissance period really hit, that 1492, where there were some very major events, so-called Christopher Columbus came over here to the Americas, over there in Spain. There was the what's the word? Annexation. I don't even know if that's the correct word. They pushed the Jews, the real Jews, out, and they had to accept Christianity or they had to leave. Okay? And then also there was one more thing in 1492 that had to deal with our people. Don't quite recall. Let me just Google that real quick. Let's see. Right. The War on Granada, I believe it is. Ending the 10-year war on Granada. Right. So basically, our people just lost the remaining power that was left with us. All right. And it wasn't all just overnight. It was definitely a build-up for several decades when you look at the history. Right. Here it is, Ferdinand and Isabella signed the decree, Alhambra decree, expelling all Jews from Spain. And it's not talking about Jews, the fake ones that claim that they're Jews. No, it's talking about our actual people were pushed out unless they converted to Roman Catholicism. Okay, so that all happened, and now we're in that little season. Since then, up to this very point, the Edomites have been ruling, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua. So there are some men that will be beheaded, some elect members that will be beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, okay, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Yahushua for 1,000 years. So regardless, if once you're in this truth, and the prophecy says it, if you are beheaded, it doesn't matter, you're still going to get your crown. But the rest of the dead live not until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. So the rest of the dead is talking about those heathen, all right, because the heathen are going into captivity, right, for the 1,000 years. But keep in mind that the Edomites will not continue on past that 1,000 years, as it pertains to Obadiah verse 18. Okay, blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power. The second death is that death by thermonuclear fire. Okay, so first, back in those days, it was by way of the flood. But this time, there's going to be, well, let me rephrase. That first cleansing was by way of the flood, and the second cleansing and renewal will be by way of fire. Okay, death hath no power, but they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Yahushua, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. All right, so the scriptures aren't just like boom, boom, boom. It goes back and forth. All right, so the 1,000 years expired once again, and so Satan, which is Esau, Edom, is loosed out of his prison. We're in that period right now. We're in that world, right? World, when you look at the scriptures, one of the Greek words is aeon, which is age. So we're currently in the age of the rulership of the Edomites, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle. So Gog and Magog is referring to the Russians as they dwell in that land today. Okay? To battle the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So this is that World War III. All right, the Russians are going to have a spirit upon them. In Ezekiel chapter 38, it talks about that. It talks about them, hooks being put into their jaws to go back to war. And then they're going to have that great company, and they're going to have their allies, which will include the so-called Iranians and the so-called Africans, and also the so-called Turkish will also be a part of that. Okay, and they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints, which are the Israelites above, and the beloved city, which is talking about Israel, the Israelites, the true Israelites. And fire came down from heaven, and fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them. So they're going to lose. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast, which is NATO, and the false prophet, the Roman Catholic Church, are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. All right, so the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire, that thermonuclear fire, right? That thermonuclear fire will not only represent the destruction of America, but it will represent the final end of the rulership of the Edomites. Okay, that is it. Because when the mark of the beast prophecy is fully fulfilled, okay, which is that microchip, then the destruction will come, and the judgment will be sent unto the heathen, but also our people that take it. Okay, Revelation chapter 9 and verse 10. For all you Israelites that take it, all right, America's going to be wiped out. And by the way, this war, one more precept, I think it's Isaiah 6 and 7, could be 6 and 9, no, or 9 and 6, no, let me find it real quick. 9 and 5. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 5, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So once World War III starts, the climax of it will be by way of thermonuclear fire, and that's what it is. Okay? Obviously what we're seeing is a build up towards these prophecies, if you have a very close eye, and truthfully, to me, the end is quite soon. All right, now soon is relative to each person, but to me, it is quite soon, and that's what it is. So that I like to say, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemi Shai Bashim Kal Kodesh, Wa Abad Babal Shalom.